Now I will show you the use of use relative reference, which is right over here. You can see right below record macro. So how record macro works, I've shown you. It just imitates all of the data and then uses it again to like save a lot of time. So let me show you it again. Which I'm gonna do right now is just press on record macro and then show you how you use record or use relative reference so that it will show you the difference of them. And what I'm gonna do is just add in HOLUDI. Okay, my bad, that was the end of that. Okay, hello D. And then what I'm gonna do first is add in HRTY. That's it, right? Now what I'm gonna do is just stop recording, and then what I'm gonna do is open up a new sheet and then just macro hello D, just run it. You can see that it's pasted right over here because I added that. Okay, or what you can do first is just select the data first, or let me show you again. What we're going to do is go to the cell, record a macro, just need, okay, I selected this one, GHG. Okay, stop recording it. What I'm going to do is go to sheet 3. I'm going to do macro, just press in macro 3. Now it's selected on which cell it belongs to. So this is like absolute cell reference. First, what I saw or showed you didn't work because I didn't select the cell and it was already selected before. So what we're going to do is, for absolute cell reference, what we're going to do is press on record macro and then select the cell, okay, so that it works on the absolute cell even in whichever sheet you're going to. Now we're going to delete this shit because this, we don't want this. Delete this. Now I'm gonna delete this too. Now you can see that all the macros are saved here. What I'm gonna do is delete them because I don't need them. You can also keep them if you want to, but I don't want them, so what I'm gonna do is just delete them. Now what I'm gonna do is show you the use of relative references. We know that while just record macro, we can just get whichever format or whichever steps we did and then put it on wherever we want to. Okay, but use relative reference is a lot more flexible with, like, if it has a lot of data already in the sheet. Okay, so an example, now what I'm gonna do is type, like we had GHG like an example, right? And now we want to use like a lot of them, okay, and we want to put it anywhere we want, because record macro is absolute cell reference, but relative reference is that you can add in data wherever you want. So if you didn't get it, again, I will show you it again, which is record macro, okay, and then what we're going to do is select the cell GHG or GHH and stop recording. Now you can see that the data is on D8, okay. Now when we go to sheet number 3, now just press on macros, macro 4, run. It was D8, right? It's always going to end up on D8 and then go to D9, because that's the way the macro or the coding is saved into. If you even press A1 and then run the macro in M4, it's not going to end up in A1, okay, because the way it's done, or the macro is only saved in D8, which is absolute cell reference. But when in relative cell reference, it's gonna put or paste your data wherever you want. An example, you want it to be in K2, you can also do it in K2, N2, or maybe J6 or J5, wherever you want, you can like paste all of it. So let me show you how it works. Just go to sheet 2, just press on this use relative reference first, okay, click on this first, and then what we're going to do is record a macro, okay, and now it's selected. Now an example, I want ice cream, now some crackers, and then what I'm going to do is pops, and then some rice, some chicken fries, okay. Now what I'm going to do is stop this recording, use the select on it again so that it's selected. Now what I'm going to do is paste it wherever I want because the macro is saved, right, which is macro 5. Now what I'm going to do is just press run, and now you can see that you can paste it wherever you want, even in another cell, in another sheet. You can just paste it wherever you want, but this does not happen in when you record this macro, which is absolute cell reference. Now let me go to another sheet. Now just press macro 5, and then run it. Wherever you want, you can paste it. So macro, using relative cell reference is a lot more flexible. But you might think that why don't we use relative reference all the time? So an example, you went to a new sheet and now you have a control or maybe your shortcut key connected, and then you press another one, or you don't have the cell selected where you want it to be. So when you have this record macro, you can just click on your shortcut key and it will end up, or if you want your data to be on the same place as it was on previous sheets, you can just press on whichever shortcut key you binded it to, and that data will end up on that specific cell, which is absolute cell reference. But when you use relative reference, you have to select the cell first, and also the row or the column which one you selected. You have to see if there's like space for those data, or it might it overlap the datas, and then you can use relative references. So that are those are the differences of using just record macro and by using use relative reference. Now let's move on to the next lessons.